Hello, sir. I'm with one of the legends of Indian sports in Vijay Amritraj, sir. Who's transformed Indian tennis, reaching the Wimbledon quarterfinals and the US Open quarterfinals, and reached the Davis Cup twice. And just tell us about the experience of reaching the Davis Cup twice, along with your brother Anand as well. You took us twice in '74 and '87. So some thoughts looking back at Davis Cup.
Yeah, I think it was the most special moments of my Davis Cup career, playing for the country. I don't think there is no second to it. The flag is flown, the anthem is sung. It is very few people have been given that privilege to be able to represent the country at such a high level. So I think that we have it was a unique opportunity, and to have played for such a long time. And in the Open era, we've only been in the finals twice. And, I was fortunate to do that on both occasions. So it is a feeling that can never be replaced.
And you also had played a lot of times with the old big three, so to speak, with Borg, who was just here at Chennai to watch his son,
Yes.
and Borg, Connors, and McEnroe. So how would you compare that era, the big three, with the current big three of Federer, Rafa, and Djokovic? And do you have any preference as to among the current players? Do you have a preference of who is the GOAT as such? Because there's a lot of debate about Rafa, Federer, and Djokovic.
No, I think the most important thing here is that every generation brings up some great players and great champions. And, in my time, it was Borg, McEnroe, Connors. McEnroe came a little bit later, then Connors and beyond. And all friends of mine played against them, won against them, lost against them. And each of them brought an incredible dimension to the sport. They were fantastic for the sport. Network television carried it worldwide, and we moved on, and then we went into the Becker-Edberg era, and then we, needless to say, went into the Sampras-Agassi era. So moved on until we got to these three guys who have just dominated the sport for the last 20 years, 15 years. And I think we'll look back in history and say that these three guys also were obviously the best of their generation, but at the same time they were able to not just elevate the quality of tennis. As everyone got better, they continued to get better. So that is a very hard thing to do. Getting number one is one thing, but staying number one with so many Grand Slams is amazing.
Any preference for among the three? Do you have any preference who's the best of all time? Is it possible?
Yeah, I think it's very hard to quantify that, and you can go with numbers if you want to. But at the end of the day, we all know that Rafa and Novak have the same number at this point, 22, and Roger at 20. Novak is likely to get a couple more, perhaps, depending on how his health is and physical fitness. Similarly with Rafa. And all of that. But the interesting factor is that the youngsters still have not been able to break that hold that these three guys have had over the sport.
And coming on to Chennai in particular, we had the Chennai Challenger after some time, and is it Chennai fans have been deprived of the major tournament because the tournament moved to Pune? So is there any chance that Chennai will again get back the ATP 250, and is there also an opening where we can move towards a 500 if possible, so that Indian tennis fans and players get more opportunity? And just adding on to that, how do you feel that what is the exact problem with Indian tennis right now? Because we've recently seen that there are a lot of players, there's nobody in the top 300, and we've just been relegated into Davis Cup Zone 2. So your thoughts on how to improve Indian tennis in particular? And the good thing is we have so many challengers which has been set up. So you could just expand on what you're doing to.
Yeah, I think the most important thing here is to have more of these events, the challenger events. In this challenger tournament in Chennai, we still haven't had one Indian get into the tournament. There was no Indian getting into the tournament except Sumit, who qualified. He won 2 rounds in the qualifying, and then he went on to do very well in the tournament to reach the semi-final. So that is a terrific effort by him to win 5 matches during the course of the week. But no one got straight into the tournament. So bringing anything else wouldn't allow them to get in. Okay. It's great for the fans to watch some fantastic tennis, but the quality of tennis between the 250 and the 130 that we've just had in Chennai, there's not much of a difference between the quality of tennis. The quality is the same, pretty much the same. Needless to say, we're still on the waiting list to get something from a 250 perspective. I keep working on it. The problem with us is we only have a 2-month window to do the tournament, January, February.
Okay.
So there's no other opportunity to actually get a tournament
Okay.
for us from a calendar, from a weather perspective.
Right.
October, November, there's too much rain.
Right.
The summer is too hot.
Okay.
So what's left? January, February. Yeah, that's the problem. And then the calendar is full.
And in terms of from a technical perspective and from the mentoring, is there more support that the Indian government and federations can do to support the players? Because you find that a lot of the players, like they start off, for example, Ram Kumar was on the brink of breaking into the top 100 at 111, he reached the ATP final. And then they seem to take a step back with injuries. So is there something like from a technical point of view that the Indians are lacking? Because they're doing very well at the juniors, like Yuki Bambri, won slam, became #1.
Yes. So I think that again, at the end of the day, it comes right down only to the player.
Okay.
It's entirely up to them to sacrifice the player.
Okay.
And you train, and then you train some more. And then when you're tired, you train some more. And you've got to be able to do all of that to compete with the West. And that's what they do in the West, and especially in countries like Spain, France, Italy, Czech Republic, Serbia, all these places. So for us, and today, the boys and girls know what it is in the West. In our day, we didn't know. We were flying blind in those days. Today, everyone has seen, gone there, played, practiced, been in academies, trained. So I think it really comes down to the player.
And when do you see the next generation? Because we see that next week Sania Mirza is retiring. So your thoughts on Sania Mirza's career and the kind of impact she's had on Indian tennis? And
I think the thing about Sania Mirza is the fact that she was a terrific singles player in a couple of years in her career. And frankly speaking, that was her strength. That was her actual golden moment for me, because that's when she performed well in singles, got to the top 30 in one of her rankings, and I think that, to me, was the best part of Sania's record. And so, from my perspective, she uplifted sport in India at a national level, and giving girls a chance, and for that matter boys as well, a chance to believe that this is possible to do. And so she was able to inspire a whole set of young girls to be able to say, I can do this in sport, not necessarily only in tennis, but across all sports.
So, just getting on to the similar thing, like where do you see the next Sania Mirza? And because the last time we had an Indian reach the Slam quarterfinals was way back in the 70s and 80s. So after that, nobody's come close.
Yeah.
So who do you see among the next generation who could be next Sania Mirzas and Vijay Amritraj?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's very hard to figure it out. At the end of the day, it goes down to the player. And as you rightly pointed out earlier, in the 14, 15, 16 age group, they seem to be very good. But then post that, it becomes the improvement is not as quick at 18, 19. That's where we have the problem.
So is there something we can do in terms of sports analysis? Like
there's a lot that they can do on their own.
Okay.
Yes, we need qualifications to be able to do it. And I think that they have their own trainers, they have their own coaches, they go to different academies in different parts of the world. That's a vital factor, no question. And at the same time, they need to be able to truly benefit from that and sacrifice and work even harder to be able to keep up with the West.
Just as a